Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. For an educator committed to mastery, applying CLT means continuously evaluating and refining instruction based on the learner's current state and the inherent complexity of the material. 1. The dynamic assessment of load. The load placed on a student's working memory is not static. It changes not only with their expertise, but also moment by moment in the lesson. Advanced application of CLT requires the instructor to actively seek feedback on the cognitive load being experienced. Measurement techniques. Subjective rating scales. The simplest and most common method is using a short subjective scale, often adapted from NASA's Task Load Index, TLX. After a learning segment, students might be asked, how mentally demanding was that task, on a scale of 1, very low effort, to 7, very high effort. High self-reported effort coupled with poor performance is a strong indicator of excessively high ECL. Physiological measures. The future. Researchers also use less intrusive physiological measures like heart rate variability and pupil dilation. A consistent increase in pupil size and changes in heart rhythm can be a real-time objective measure of the intensity of working memory engagement. The takeaway for the teacher is to be sensitive to the signs of overload, glazed eyes, frantic rereading, or the student asking questions about foundational terms that should have been covered earlier. These are not signs of poor effort. They are warning signs that the ECL is too high. 2. The transient information effect. This principle highlights the challenge of dealing with dynamic presentations, such as lectures or animations. Information that appears and disappears, is transient, must be actively held in working memory. The challenge. If an animation moves too fast or a lecturer speaks too quickly, the student may not have enough time to process the information, form a schema, and transfer it to LTM before the next piece of information arrives. The fix. Allow for processing time. In video tutorials or presentations, build in strategic pauses and provide controls that allow the student to rewind and rewatch segments. This directly addresses the transient nature of the input, giving working memory the breathing room it needs to perform GCL. 3. The self-explanation effect. This principle is a direct bridge to maximizing germane cognitive load. Self-explanation is a powerful active learning strategy that forces the student to engage in schema construction. The strategy. After receiving instruction, students are prompted to explain the material to themselves, out loud or in writing, in their own words. They might ask, what does this new piece of information mean? Or, how does this relate to what I already know? The CLT connection. This process compels the student to connect new elements, abstract principles, and troubleshoot gaps in their understanding. This is the very definition of productive mental effort, pure, concentrated GCL. When integrated correctly, self-explanation is one of the most effective ways to ensure new knowledge is deeply integrated into LTM. Cognitive load theory is sometimes mistakenly viewed as advocating for dumbing down the curriculum. Nothing could be further from the truth. The goal of CLT is not to make learning easy, but to make it efficient and effective. It respects the high inherent difficulty, ICL, of complex knowledge, while ruthlessly eliminating the unnecessary struggle, ECL, caused by sloppy teaching materials. The theory reminds us that the human mind has evolved to acquire complex knowledge, but it is not optimized for poorly designed instruction. Key takeaways for the educator. 1. Analyze element interactivity. Before teaching a concept, determine its ICL. If it's high, be prepared to segment the material and teach its prerequisite, less interactive elements first. Don't throw a complex recipe at a beginner cook all at once. 2. Be a load detective, minimize ECL. Scour your materials for sources of extraneous load. Are your diagrams labeled clearly and adjacent to the corresponding text? Are you reading aloud the same text that is on the screen? If the answer is yes, you are inducing unnecessary load and must redesign. Integrate text, use narration over text, and cut out seductive details. 3. Harness the expertise reversal. Recognize the shifting nature of your learners. Start with high instructional support, worked examples, clear scaffolding for novices, but ruthlessly strip that support away as expertise grows. The challenge must escalate from studying solutions, GCL, to generating solutions, higher GCL. 4. Embrace dual channels modality. Whenever you present complex visual information, use the power of the auditory channel by narrating the explanation. Do not crowd the visual space with too much text. In conclusion, cognitive load theory is the ultimate guide to ensuring that the time and effort spent in a classroom are productive, not wasteful. It shifts the emphasis of pedagogical critique away from the learner's effort and onto the instructor's design. As educators, our commitment is not just to deliver content, but to manage the precious mental resources of our students. By aligning our teaching strategies with the known limits of working memory, we provide our students with the clearest, most efficient path to forming the schemas that are the foundation of true expertise. This isn't just good teaching, it's cognitively informed teaching, and it is the standard to which all modern instruction should be held. It's time to put this blueprint to use and ensure every student gets the best possible shot at success.